In 1992, the Tenchi Muyo franchise kicked off with an OVA series, launching 4 more OVAs, several TV series with their own universes, a handful of spin-off OVAs and shows, a couple of mangas, some movies, some... Oh god, I've gone cross-eyed. Today, we're reviewing the first episode of Tenchi Muyo, Ryo Ohki. Hey everyone, welcome to Aging Otakus, the retro anime podcast. I'm Jorge, and I'm here with Eric. Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Been a minute.
It's been a while. Yeah, dude. Excuse our hiatus of sorts, but it's been mostly once again our hiatus is likely due to me. We're in the ninth inning here of the pandemic 2020-2021, and right at the ninth inning, I catch coronavirus. So, I was kind of dealing with that for a few weeks, but I'm all better now and ready to get the pod back on the road.
Yeah, I told him not to go to Ibiza, but
I could. You can't tell somebody not to go and party up in Ibiza. But it was not bad as like other people had it, but like my corona experience was that my stamina went really bad, but that might also be the fact that I stayed in for a week and a half and just ate garbage food because I couldn't buy food. So I probably gained like a bunch of weight, but other than that, I had like a weird like a face rash as well, which kind of like is a thing, I guess, because your immune system's like going haywire trying to fight it off. So still recovering from that, but yeah, it was like hives and it was a whole gross mess. And I'm a very vain person, so it sucked.
Were you just like constantly looking in the mirror, like talking to yourself, like screaming at yourself to get better?
Yeah, get better. And yeah, it wasn't working, but I went to go see my dermatologist and she's like, yeah, put this on your face. And it's getting better, but I'm not 100% and I hate it. And then I also had like a small mental breakdown at work and realized that I have anxiety issues and I probably need to see a therapist. So it's been a busy month for me.
Hey, those realizations are they can have a healthy outcome. When you learn that about yourself and you work on it.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so. I mean, yeah, I need to once that sweet employee healthcare kicks in, I'll be able to go and see someone. But until then, it's like, I'm just gonna meditate and use this meditation app and self-care, I guess. I don't know.
Or you could pull a Dalsim and then meditate and destroy someone.
I need to learn the mysteries of yoga like Dalsim. Yes, that is very true. But yeah, other than that, Jorge, what have you been getting into this week? Or this month since we haven't seen each other?
More of the same. I think I might have mentioned this on the pod before. I built a little like Raspberry Pi emulation box, but that wasn't enough power for my beloved Sega Saturn games. Mm-hmm. And so I got really, really heavy into like emulation internet and emulation like YouTube and such. And I put together a cool little emulation PC so I can play, like Daytona USA and Marvel vs. Street Fighter and all those things I no longer have the hardware to play because, those Sega Saturns are what, like 20 something years old now. They're up there.
Yeah,
mine definitely stopped working.
My buddy actually was just cleaning out his house and he was like, hey, I found an old Sega Saturn. And he's just like, hey, what do I do with this? And I was like, sell it to me.
Yeah. It's a great system. Yeah.
Yeah. I was always a PlayStation kid. I never got a Saturn when I was younger.
Yeah. So it's been pretty cool. I got Daytona USA running. I got Marvel versus Street Fighter running. Gonna try a couple of the others that I have. I mean, these are backups of the games in my garage.
Of course, legitimate backups, of course.
And so gonna keep trying some of those. It was, dude, I lucked out when the Sega Saturn was like dying, and I found this like crazy 3-pack, and I know Daytona USA was one of the games, and I want to say it was like Virtua Fighter. And there was something else. It was some kind of 3-pack, and it was at the local Kmart, right?
Okay.
And they're just clearing out Saturn stuff, and I believe this was actually meant to be sold when you bought like a new console, but they didn't have any new consoles anymore, so they just had it out. And basically for a penny, I got like 3 Sega Saturn games. I'll have to
a penny?
find
Like you literally gave them a penny.
Like literally a penny, and it got me a Sega Saturn 3-pack of just like a couple of Sega games.
Really? Holy shit, that's cool.
Oh, it was Virtua Fighter 2, Virtua Cop, and Daytona USA.
Virtua Fighter 2 is like a classic. Like, yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's wonderful. Dude, Fighters Megamix also, like...
Wait, Capcom Fighters Megamix?
No, Sega. It was Fighting Vipers versus Virtua Fighter. Freaking awesome. They were dumb. They didn't put Sonic in it.
Oh, okay.
You know, oh well. They put some like ancillary Sonic character in it. But yeah, they were on the like crossover fighter craze like early. So.
Do you know what you should pick up? This is like one of the arcade like Sega games that I loved that I never played because besides outside of an arcade, have you ever heard of a fighting game called Last Bronx?
I've heard of it, but it wasn't one that I played.
It's a weapons based 3D fighter, and that game kicks ass. I would say definitely check that out on your emulator and see if you like it after you buy the original copy, of course. And what else is really good on the Saturn that I liked? Virtua On, of course.
Virtual On, amazing. Yep.
Yeah, you just need to get those little joysticks too.
Oh yeah.
But that's cool, dude. Yeah, man. I'm glad you've gone into the deep end of emulating.
Oh yeah, and it's really cool because like you can alter the like the video output and scale the stuff up to at least like HD quality often. I mean, it's still the same graphics, but it kind of you can clean them up a fair bit. And I appreciate accuracy and I appreciate original hardware and the original running, but it is kind of fun to just get stuff looking a little different than it was intended to, and see what you get out of that. Maybe sometimes you get a much better product, at least visually, and it runs fine and all that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, pretty excited to get into that now.
Cool, man. Nice.
Yeah, and so as part of that, getting into the emulators and all that, I've had this really good resource on YouTube. This guy, his channel is ETA Prime. Mm-hmm. And he's what's really cool is he reviews all the like cheap Chinese like portable emulation machines that have been coming out as of late. But he's also got this this cool tendency to find like really old office like workstations and such that you can get from from as low as like $40 to like maybe like 100, 150 or whatever, and like refurbish them ever so slightly or just upgrade like one tiny little thing on the cheap and get them running as emulation computers basically, and he tests them out and kind of like walks you through a lot of that process. So really cool if you're into like retro games. Definitely look up ETA Prime on YouTube and just and check that out, and then keep an eye out for like old surplus office workstations if that's something you're interested in. Like I went with a fully original build myself, but trust me, I was like eyeballing the like surplus university computers for a while. Just nothing really like caught my eye that would work.
Okay.
But
you mean like just like old PCs that would be used for office?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of them have pretty decent onboard graphics on the on like it'd be like an Intel like i5 like 4th or 5th generation or something. You would probably get a decent performance on at least like PS1 Dreamcast games, maybe GameCube on some of those, depending on how well put together they are. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a really fun channel. And then he reviews all the like pocket emulation things and other random gaming and emulation hardware sort of stuff. But it's fun. It's fun seeing him just like, and then he'll be like, I spent $100 to get this little like office workstation that used to do Excel, and now we're playing Tekken.
I haven't really been doing anything either. It's more the same. Like I don't watch television anymore really. I spend if I'm not working, then I'm just playing Escape from Tarkov still. So that's kind of been my life. No, actually, you know what? I during my COVID break, my girlfriend and I were watching Great British Bake Off. We were just mainlining that the whole time for like hours. And that show is great. If you've ever just wanted like a low stakes kind of pleasant show where you don't have to worry about plot lines or drama, it's just pop on Great British Bake Off on Netflix and just go to town. So
everything I've seen about that show just seems like a warm hug.
It really is.
TV
and
form.
I mean, there's you love Mary Berry and you love Paul Hollywood because he's kind of a dick. But you still want like his approval. He's sort of like he's like the Red Foreman, like hard ass dad of the baking world, and you kind of love him for it. So yeah, that's other than Escape from Tarkov, like Great British Bake Off, that's the media I've been taking in.
That sounds awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, man, please do.
So Tenchi Muyo as a franchise kicked off in 1992 with originally with this 6-episode OVA that we're going to review the first episode of shortly, which is called Tenchi Muyo Ryo Ohki. It was created by Masaki Kajishima and directed by Hiroki Hayashi. Now, both of them have credits in Bubblegum Crisis. Prior to this, Kajishima is probably best known for the series Duel, which I remember being a thing, but I never really watched or got into. And then and Hayashi was one of his big credits was El Hazard or El Hazard. I forget how to say that. Also a series I never really got into, but I remember hearing a lot about like in the like early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, it was always like in the kind of like the peripheral of like me and anime stores. Like I'd always see it, but I'd never heard of it. So I was like, I'm not going to pick that up because it might be trash. And this VHS is $50. So
yeah, once you're comfortable. You're like, no, I don't want to take any risks. Give me more of the same, please.
Yeah. Or maybe, I mean, if anything, we could probably throw that on the list. Because I've been wanting to watch Bastard. Have you ever heard of Bastard?
I've heard of it, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
It was like risk averse, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll throw these both on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like the series, like, you know, being kind of like light in tone and having a you know, what eventually would become kind of like a harem anime format and that cast demographically. It started as a kind of a response to the seriousness and like the gloominess of Bubblegum Crisis. Something a little more like lighthearted and romp-like.
Yeah, and definitely a romp is this OVA.
Yeah. Yeah, and so this six episode series actually eventually spawned like a special 7th episode, a special episode that was its own thing, and then a TV series that was a retelling of the story done a little bit differently, and then there was, to my understanding, then there was like Tenchi in Tokyo, which is like another timeline entirely or another sequence of events, but based in the same thing.
Yeah, and then there's like Tenchi Universe, which is like a space opera.
Yeah.
And then there's the GXS cop show, where it's like the Galaxy Police kind of.
Yeah, like they're, and then to boot, they made more OVA series that carry on from this one, or that are their own thing. There's an episode that's coming out in May of 2021 of the OVA series. So it's like there's a lot going. Like, to me, this is kind of confusing. My eyes are probably doing the thing that people do to me when I'm explaining all the different like DC Universe crises and timelines and stuff.
God. Yeah.
I'm empathizing with everybody I've ever talked to about that. Cause yeah, no, it's confusing. I remember, you know, and like going on to like whether, you know, like our history with these shows or like if we watched them, like I never really watched or like got into Tenchi. It was always on in Toonami. And I swear every time I would hear a commercial or a promo for Tenchi, or every time it would start, it would have a different name. It would have a different title other than the word Tenchi in the title. Which I, you know, being a Gundam fan, I understand the confusion that can cause, because Gundam did that too. That just so happened to be what I was into. So yeah, it was kind of confusing at the time for someone who wasn't really like into it, just in the periphery. So yeah, I never really, I never paid attention. It was on. I would watch it occasionally. Who knows what series was on at the time? But Eric, have you watched Tenchi before?
So yes, I would say that I was a very casual fan of Tenchi. Like I liked the art style a lot, and the characters are good. But like same as you, I would be like, I was maybe 13 when I first started watching it. I was like, why is Tenchi in Tokyo now, and why is nobody like talking about the prior events from Tenchi Muyo? Because I thought they would be like a direct continuation and not an AU. So I would say like even though you were used to Gundam, at least Gundam still kind of kept their universes aligned. If you're going like UC or After Colony,
Right.
like Amuro is still Amuro and not like you know Char never existed. So that's kind of like that's what kind of got me. But I remember mostly liking the anime because I would try to draw. Like I was very into like anime drawing as a young teen, and so I was like, this aesthetic is very good to me.
Yeah, the character designs are very strong. They're very distinct. I feel like I can recognize a Tenchi character even if I haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I've got to go with you on that one. Like it's a cool art style.
Yeah.
And it's great that it's still like I looked up a little bit of like the current OVA series that's going, and it's cool to see it still like carried on, just with like slight nicer HD art, but
Like digital,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that it's like still going on in that style. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was very. Did you watch it when it was on like Cartoon Network at all, or were you just like,
Yes.
That's where you got it from, right?
Yep. Yeah. Cartoon Network Toonami. Yep.
And then we probably got the Tenchi Muyo series because it felt like it was longer than just 12 episodes, right?
Yeah, I think
Not this
I think
OVA
it was
series.
I think it was Tenchi Universe, and I think it was like War on Geminar, which I don't know which one that what that aligns to, but I just remember that being I remember Tom, the Toonami robot, saying that phrase.
Okay,
frequently.
yeah. Okay, so as you know, we're going over episode 1, Ryoko Resurrected, and we start by getting the opening theme to this, which is just called Tenchi Muyo Ryo Ohki theme. I don't think it has an official name since it's just a sort of a ambient musical piece, correct?
Yeah, it's just instrumental, with little vaguely Japanese sounding historic little like flourishes.
Yeah, it's got that sort of guitar plucking.
Yeah,
I don't know what that instrument's called.
Yeah, it sounds like the beginning act of this episode looks in the Shinto shrine.
Yeah, and then there's just like lots of like panning of various characters that we've yet to see. What did you think of it? Did you like it?
It just kind of existed. It was fine.
Yeah,
For me. It was just kind of there. Yeah.
Didn't really blow my skirt up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine. I don't think there's any credits at least that we were able to find. But yeah, after the OP ends, we see somebody walking up the stairs of a shrine. Very, very traditional Japanese, just sort of a theme where you get cicadas in the background. Very tranquil, very, very quiet and peaceful. And so we find out that is an older Japanese man named Tenchi's grandpa, as of right now, and he's walking up the steps of the shrine and notices that something's out of place. Upon investigation, you see that Tenchi is inside and he's reading. He's kind of snooping around. We don't really know what he's getting into yet, but his grandpa sneaks up on him and tells him, curiosity killed the cat. And so this is kind of where I kind of differ because I don't remember Tenchi kind of being like a rascal type character. Whenever I watched it in the early 2000s, Tenchi was very like placid and kind of like milquetoast. So I don't know if I'm remembering it wrong or this is a change from the OVA series to the actual anime series.
Yeah, the vibe I always kind of got was also just kind of like overwhelmed and yeah, like docile.
Yeah, very docile, right? And so I was just sort of like, I was kind of taken aback for a second. Um, so it turns out like Tenchi's trying to snoop around for these keys that his grandpa has, and his grandpa's like, "Hey, well, why don't you take these keys from me?" And this is another thing that kind of took me aback is that Tenchi just swings on his grandpa like it's nothing. He's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll hit this old man." Um, obviously he fails because his grandfather is much more skilled than he is.
Elder abuse,
And
the anime.
yeah, right. Um, but he still gets the keys that he was looking for, and it turns out that the keys are to a cave which is sectioned off. And once he gets to the gate, he has like a flashback of himself as a child, kind of wondering what's in here, and it's a flashback about his father or his grandfather kind of telling him this story of why they've kind of sectioned off this cave. And it's because a demon lives in the cave, which came from the sky. It destroyed villages and burned down everything. And there was no hope until a samurai riding a ship like a dragon also came from the sky to defeat this evil. And he's saying that we've locked up the cave because the demon's held prisoner in the shrine, and it's being held there with a special sword, and that the samurai was Yosho, which is Tenchi's ancestor. And I thought that was kind of a fun way to kind of explain everything really quickly, because we'll find out that the story's true, and it maybe isn't necessarily a folklore tale, it's more of a science fiction tale that we'll find out later.
Yeah, they hop in really fast. I appreciate that a lot, especially after seeing how just the sheer amount of episodes that there are. Usually when I see something that has like a bajillion episodes, it's also because it like starts slow or goes slow. But it seems like this is just like hopping right into the action.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you even see it with like the dubbing, because I was remarking that like the dubbing in this is wild, because it's Tenchi's voice actor just like doing exposition as he's like by himself in this cave. He's like, "Oh, a passageway, interesting." Like, like it's just really weird, like things that nobody would say, but he's just obviously he's explaining it to the audience.
Right. Old like old comics do that a lot to cheesy effect, so it felt a little throwbacky to me, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so in this cave, Tenchi finds a sword that's all rusted over, and he kind of just like strikes this rock with it, and it breaks. Big surprise there, but the rock splits down the middle, like a little like ray of light just kind of like emanates, and it splits down the middle, and it rearranges the whole area of like a bunch of rocks and branches and all that into a passageway, basically. And so, Tenchi, his curiosity gets the better of him. He steps in, and it's like a slide. It's like a Mr. Burns fun slide over here.
Yeah.
And he falls into this like big circular room that has like a labyrinth pattern all across the floor. It looks ancient, but like kind of sci-fi at the same time.
It gave me strong like what's that Zelda game for the Switch?
Oh, the
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like at the center of this, there's like a corpse there of like a demonic corpse with a red mask. And this kind of is like Tenchi realizes that the story wasn't just a legend, but yeah, like he really did just open up the tomb of this demon. And so as the realization kind of hits, he drops his sword, or the hilt of the sword, and hits the floor, and it kind of like startles him. And as he goes down to pick it up, the demon reaches out for his hand, and it starts like reaching out for Tenchi, but the light from the sword kind of like scares it away, kind of freaks it out a little bit. And that all freaks Tenchi out a whole lot. And so he scrambles up, he escapes up the cave. He ties together the rock that got split in two and like seals that inner chamber back up. And so as he's kind of contemplating this as he's getting out, he's frazzled. He's like startled. This is where we see a little bit of like what I imagine Tenchi is more like, or what I kind of like piece together Tenchi is more like. And he's even telling himself like he's gonna do all the chores Grandpa wants. He's gonna be a good boy, basically.
But like, you just woke up a demon. I think you've got to worry about more than just not telling your grandpa that you raised a demon and, you know, let loose an evil upon the world.
This is definitely like an ask for forgiveness situation.
Right. Yeah.
And so he hears, you know, he's leaving, you know, he's leaving this little separated off area, and he just hears this creepy laughter down below. And
you know, Jorge, Pablo Neruda once said that laughter is the language of the soul. I was teeing up a Simpsons reference for you. Remember that where Bart sells his soul and he's like, I'm familiar with.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that, teeing that off to you all month. I should have just told you ahead of time, but like, hey, I'm gonna say this. Just say it back.
I ruined it.
But we can't script out our podcast. That's disingenuous.
That's crossing a line.
Yeah, and I will not cross it.
No, yeah. The so outside, you know, this outside area still, like, we see a bunch of like lights radiating out from around this tree at the shrine, and it sends like a big giant beam of light up into the night sky. So like there's like power that's being awoken and consolidated and whatnot over here.
Yeah, I hope nobody notices that Tenchi went into this cave and now all this shit's happening.
He triggered the final act of a Marvel movie.
Pretty much, yeah. So the next thing we see, Tenchi's now at school, and he's sort of just trying to, I guess he was there for summer break or you know, some type of break, and he was just hanging out with his grandpa. And he's got the sword hilt still in his backpack, and he's wondering about what happened earlier. And as he shows up, this just monstrosity of an anime character, you know, shows up and asks him like, "Hey, what's up, Tenchi? Like, how was your summer vacation?" And they start talking about, you know, just each other's things, and talks about a mummy. Like, "Oh, did you make out with a mummy?" And then Tenchi just like punches his buddy in the face like really hard, and like it's like, I was like, this is not the Tenchi I know. Like, this guy is a douchebag.
We all had that kid in the class in middle school that were just like, stop misconstruing what I said, you asshole. And Tenchi did what we all wanted to do. So props.
You know what?
Props to Tenchi.
I guess so. He's real strong, like, you know, mean bully vibes from this Tenchi, and I do not like it.
He is catching all the rye he can, damn it.
Yeah, I guess so. So, you know, logically, after you punch out a fellow student, you know, you logically want to go on top of the roof and fall asleep for like 7 hours. So that's what Tenchi does. During this long nap, he's haunted by visions of the demon that he saw inside the shrine. And once he wakes up, he realizes, oh, it's like 8 o'clock at night and I'm on the roof of my school. You know, I need to find some way to get home because that's normal. But as he's sort of trying to get his bearings back, he realizes that he's not alone. And on the rooftop, he's met by Ryoko. And he quickly, almost amazingly so, pieces together that this is the demon that he saw in the shrine. Because they kind of share the same kind of like eyeball glow, kind of.
Yeah, like there's a, I don't know, like they have a similar like face shape, like, I mean, which makes sense kind of, but not, I don't know. There's something, there was something, I don't know. It kind of worked for me.
Oh, it did? Okay, yeah. There's this je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, so, you know, Tenchi pieces together and he realizes she's not a mummy anymore. She's hot. And she wants revenge. So she does this cool thing where all these like little glowing lights were kind of surrounding Tenchi, and she kind of calls him back to her and uses this ball of light to kind of create like a lightsaber, and starts trying to kill Tenchi. And, you know, Tenchi is kind of holding his own, I guess, and then he tries to take like a big old section of rebar and try to hit her. And she just, you know, easily catches it because she's a space alien demon. And quickly, Tenchi realizes that he's kind of out of his element here and starts to try to like run away. And you find out that like, we as we kind of begin this chase sequence, we kind of get more of a Ryoko's kind of power set, and we see that she's got super strength, she can teleport, she can fly. She's kind of like OP as fuck, if you ask me.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, she's the super scroll at this point.
Yeah.
She's got everyone's powers.
Yeah, pretty much. And so yeah, we get a lot of, kind of cat and mouse action happening with the two of them, where it's a lot of Tenchi hiding. He's trying not to breathe around her, and as he's kind of trying to evade Ryoko, he realizes that there's like a gas leak happening, and it's sort of like Chekhov's leaking gas main. And so, because we'll kind of come back to that later, and Ryoko phases into the room, and he's like, "Hey, like don't wave that lightsaber around, the saber around. There's a gas leak." And she's like, "What's gas?" And kind of realizes that she's not normal. She doesn't know very basic things, and he kind of does like a whole, "Hey, like what's going on over there?" And she like looks, and he's like, "Ah, you idiot," and just runs away. So it's you kind of see that like Ryoko is sort of silly, but at the same time she's trying to kill you. So it's a nice little, kind of introduction to this really great character.
Yeah, like she's ditzy but very powerful. Mm-hmm. And that's just a great combo. Like she's not omnipotent, like she's just kind of,
and she's not just
silly.
like a mustache twirling villain from like a Dudley Do-Right cartoon. She's like, oh, okay, like I'm silly and funny.
And I definitely appreciated that, how that chase kind of, had a little bit of like horror movie vibes like here and there too.
Yeah, definitely did.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And so as Tenchi escapes, Ryoko's still trying to figure out, she looked over there and she's like, wait, is that it? Like, what am I supposed to be looking at? And as she comes to the belated realization that, oh, okay, I got, she kind of does a little like, yeah, almost like a little anime angry, like, kind of thing. And it triggers a spark that then ultimately causes a gas explosion with the Chekhov's gas from earlier before. And so as that happens, like meanwhile, like Tenchi is off elsewhere, and he's even like, she was kind of cute, which, okay, I guess at that age I kind of get that. You're a little,
which duh, Tenchi, you fucking idiot. It's Ryoko.
God, doofus.
She I think was one of the main sources of, hey, you had a thing for anime girls in my developing brain. It was like her and like Mai Shiranui, and yeah,
yeah. There's someone else there.
I think in my formative years.
We need a trifecta, but definitely there's a
yeah.
Very the anime characters that awoken something in many a fan. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, like he takes the time to like realize or like think that while he's on the run. So a little character moment for him. And so as she she escapes this gas fire, because again, ancient space demon spirit, and she's kind of like floating through the school hallways, and she catches her reflection in the mirror and fixes up her hair, which is another fun little character moment for her, like a little bit of that vanity.
I relate heavily to that. If I had $1 for every time I was scolded for like looking at myself in the mirror as I walk by a reflective surface, I'd have like enough money to buy like some Dogecoin. So
you take it takes you an hour to like get across a block in like a big city because all the buildings are windowed.
Yeah, all the shiny objects are distracting me.
Oh,
yeah.
And so this allows Tenchi to like slip away again, and he kind of like thinks back to there's like a jewel on her wristband, and he figures like this must be the source of her power. It's a really like distinct looking item, But as these gears are turning, she gets to jump on him, and she strikes him with the blade and destroys the briefcase that he was holding. But as the sword hilt pops out of his school briefcase, he grabs it, and its own lightsaber style blade sort of thing comes out. And at first it's like, he's holding it, and it's kind of like fighting for him, like it's moving his hands where they need to be for him to defend himself. And they're fighting, and he calls her a monster, and this just like upsets her. I mean, the demon spirit lady who just checked her hair in the mirror, that's not a nice thing to get called. And the sword guides Tenchi's hands to like cut off her hand, which then removes the power source on the wristband. And so Tenchi apologizes, and he's kind of like low key horrified and feels bad, but she just kind of like casually regrows the hand and is off on her way. And so he's just kind of like left there like, geez, what a day. And it's we reconnect with him back at home. He enters his bedroom, and who does he find in his bed but Ryoko? And she greets him with a friendly little like, welcome home, Tenchi. Like friendly, ominous.
It's great. It's giving every 13-year-old boy what he's always wanted, and it's
a mummy for a girlfriend.
Yeah. Did you know that the design for Ryoko was inspired by I Dream of Jeannie?
I saw some mention of that. I'm glad you brought it up, because I didn't dig on that further, but
I didn't either.
I get it. I could totally see that.
Yeah, she got like a real like Major Nelson kind of genie thing going on.
But yeah, so she's just waiting for him there in bed, and he just kind of like clasps his hands together in like prayer, like he's like, oh God, like what have I gotten myself into? It's
great.
Yeah, that was more of the like overwhelmed Tenchi that I think I like associated more with him. And so from there we go into the ending theme, "Talent for Love" by Chisa Yokoyama. There was also an English version of this in the dub, Japanese version in the sub. And this was just kind of like a late 80s 90s city pop song with like the animation was like minimalist, like almost like child drawing versions or like chibi versions of the
like
characters.
Ryo Ohki. Yeah.
Just like prancing about and doing their thing.
It was fun. Even the English version was, I like the English version as well, because that's what I got off of the Funimation app.
Yeah. I saw, I managed to watch both. I watched the dub, and then I watched the sub to just like refresh what happened and try to catch anything. And the ending theme it's fun. Yeah, again, just like your typical like 80s, late 80s like city pop, future funk kind of vibe-ish, but leaning more into like the pop side.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a fan of the genre, like check out that ending theme. I think you'd like it.
That's the episode.
That's the ep.
Eric, what were your thoughts? What'd you think overall?
Well, okay, so I enjoyed this. I honestly, because I don't think I've only ever watched the Cartoon Network version. I've never seen this, and I thought it was a nicer change of pace where you kind of make Tenchi more of a protagonist who isn't reactionary, which I think he very much is in the actual series. He's sort of like more headstrong, which I can kind of appreciate. The art was great. The dubbing was fine. I liked it. I think I liked it. I think I would watch it more. As for holding up, I think it still holds up. I'm not a big fan of the harem genre. If you just want to watch hentai, then just watch hentai. You don't need to play this beating around the bush thing for 70 episodes. But I enjoyed the pioneer art. The music was good. I would recommend this to a friend, I think. What about you?
I really enjoyed it. I would be interested in finding out more and finding out what happens. So the pacing was great. I thought it was a really good intro episode.
Yeah.
And there it does the like what's gonna happen now really well without resorting to like cheap or cheesy like mysteries to get you hooked that'll never like pay off in the end. I don't enjoy that. I'm kind of tired of that. Thanks JJ Abrams, but you've got you end with her in his bed and you're just like, all right, well now what? Like, yeah, that's a solid way to end the episode and like kick things off. I thought the animation, the art style was just very clean, very good.
Very clean, yeah.
Everything looked. I mean, OVA budget, I'm sure,
Right.
helped. I think it held up. I would definitely. There was a lot of like little things that it's what I remember I liked about anime versus a lot of the Western animation at the time. So it kind of brought me back to that. Like nowadays, I'm like, yeah, no, I know what I like in anime, and I kind of stick to that. And I actually end up not really watching all that much anime. I just watch my comfort zone. But there was just a lot of cool cultural touches without feeling totally lost that reminded me of just like that era when I was younger, where I'm just like, oh, this is like cool cartoons from Japan, and like I feel so like I'm in a whole other world right now. So I really appreciated it, and I would definitely recommend it to somebody who just wants to watch an anime and like feel out what they like.
Yeah, it's like low stakes. You're not gonna have a big time commitment. It's not One Piece. You don't have to watch 300 episodes. There's like 7 or 8, and you get through it in a day nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no harm in watching it. You're not gonna come about with anything profound, but you're also not gonna be like bored. So, yeah, I'd definitely say I'd recommend it. Do you remember any of the other female characters pretty well, or?
Not really. I remember what some of them looked like, but again, I never paid enough attention to really get into them. So
you can't do if I wanted to do a waifu breakdown power rankings, you wouldn't be able to do that with me.
I mean, Ryoko is pretty up there, but I mean,
she's S rank, of course.
Yeah, I cannot in good conscience participate, but I can definitely approve of of such rankings.
I only remember I remember liking Mihoshi a lot, which is like the one of the blonde cop. But yeah, other than I know that there's Washu, which is weird because she's like a kid, but she's also like a grandma. I don't remember.
That
there's
sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Washu.
And there's like the little girl. There's a lot of little girl characters, which in a harem anime is a whole other bag of snakes I don't want to get into, but. I remember just being... I think if there's anything we can get away from or take away from this is that Ryoko's S rank, Eika, which is the character you would see in episode 2, is garbage tier, and everybody else is somewhere in between. So, yeah. As you know, Jorge, we here at Aging Otakus do a body pillow ranking guide for each of the episodes we cover. So on a 1 to 5, Grandpa Masaki, or whatever Tenchi's last name is, how many grandpa body pillows would you give this episode of Tenchi Muyo?
I'm gonna have to give it a solid 4.
Really? Okay.
I think this did everything it set out to very well, and that's kind of. I mean, I'm still trying to find my metric for rating stuff, but I think this just nailed the like first episode, get you interested, get you hooked, set the premise. This is what we got. I think it nailed it, and it did it well, and it was fun to watch, and highly entertaining in a genre I don't really normally care for.
Yeah.
So I think that's doing a lot of heavy lifting. So yeah, four pillows, my man.
Okay, that's a good point you bring up, because you're right. Like, it does give you a lot of stuff to digest, but at the same time, it's very action packed, and you don't get bored. So yeah, I give it a 3. I give it a 3 body pillow rating, but I definitely don't begrudge you for giving it a 4. Like, I think that's totally valid. I think I gave it a 3 just because I was like, I didn't really. I was hooked and I watched it, but I wasn't really impressed. So I was like, it's a middle of the road. So yeah.
Yeah, no, very very fair. And again, that cuts both ways. It's not a genre I usually watch or enjoy. So
Yeah.
on the one hand, it's doing a lot of work for me to like it, but on the other hand, I don't have anything better than it to compare.
Yeah, I mean, I never was really one for the harem anime, so I don't know anything about like Love Hina or the other ones. Which I mean, we could definitely get into in the future, maybe. Um, if anybody's listening in and you want us to watch a certain harem anime you like let us
Hit us
know.
up.
And that'll kind of segue into our next section for plugs. If you'd like to follow us or learn about what we're up to, you can find us at Aging Otakus on both Instagram and Twitter. Just let us know what you thought of the episodes, what shows you'd like us to cover in the future, or just like send us a funny anime meme. We're definitely taking any kind of criticism or communication, just building a fan base. And also you can give us a rating on Amazon. Oh wait, no, not Amazon. You can give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or subscribe to us on Spotify. Other than that, Jorge, where can they find you?
So you can find me at List of Heckles on Twitter. And I'm usually just, tweeting random retro game or anime or wrestling, like BS or random musings about the news. I'm not on it as much as I have been before, but give me a follow. See what I'm up to in this near post COVID world soon, someday. I hope.
Post COVID. Will that ever
There's
be
a theory.
true?
There's a theory.
Yeah. If you'd like to follow me, I am at chambray_poppy. I think I'm private now because I just kind of started a new job and I don't want them on my social media. But if you listen to the show, that's who I am. So just send me a follow, and if you're not somebody I work with, I'll probably approve you. I'm usually tweeting about anime, leftist complaining, Warhammer 40,000, things like that. So if you like that and that's kind of your bag, then give me a follow. But until then, you can just follow us on our Aging Otakus account, and we'll let you know like what we plan on doing for the next episodes and just random communication. But until then, I guess guys, take it easy.
Bye.